If not us, who? And if not now, when?
The following is an EHC media production. Every switchblade needs his switch babe. You know that I got that rope. Plenty of space in the trunk. Chloroform making you choke. Your life is toast. Oh, whoa. See how I'm written this boat. See how we go for a ride. Kill you, then leave you to float. Yeah, I'm a funny man. Yeah, I'm funny, man. Chase cheese and do the running, man. Bitch, please, I'll call 100 fans. If you diss me, they'll have you running, man.
April 6th, we present Promo Mania 4. Promo Championship will be on the line in an epic rematch as the Blackbane battles the Butcher.
I would hope that we can keep this professional, as I am always. You know, David Gillum, will be professional.
Promo Mania. And Mia Blackbane Costello. It's official, bro. You, me. Round 2. Promo Championship.
Promo Mania 4. Dave Gillum versus Amir Costello. The Butcher versus Blackbane.
Next up, you got me.
Mask versus Mask.
People will know that the champ, he's here.
You know, Dave, you are your favorite football team. You are the New England Patriots. You're in the championship fight. You're exactly where you're supposed to be.
Freight train going straight through you.
I'm the guy that 2 years ago nobody knew. I'm the guy that wasn't supposed to beat anybody. And I'm the last person anybody suspected to be here in this championship fight. I know who you are. I know what you bring to the table.
Bring your A game. Bring your A game. You asked for it. Now you're gonna get it.
But considering that you are the best heel in the business, the operative word there is business. Ain't none of it personal, brother.
Folks, welcome back. This is another edition of The Future Is Now. This is episode 25. My name is Mike Larkin, and if guys are not familiar with this show, each and every week or weeks, depending upon the schedule, you're going to hear me talk about 205 Live and NXT And this week we had an interesting show. We had the finals going into the finals, the semifinals of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. And we found out who's going to be in the finals, and we found out something very interesting at the end of NXT. We found out who's going to be in the finals of the Cruiserweight Tournament, who's going to fight next week on 205 Live to see who's going to challenge Buddy Murphy for the Cruiserweight Championship at WrestleMania. It's a week full of tournaments. It's a week full of nonstop action. Total nonstop action, if you will, haha. But nonetheless, guys, it was a very eventful and very action-packed week for both brands. So let's start it off with some 205 Live. Alright, let's hop into some 205 Live. Very interesting week for 205 Live this week. We open up with Drew Gulak welcoming us to 205 Live. He asks, who doesn't love the semifinals of a tournament? This is the round where we separate the men from the boys, the contenders from the pretenders. This is the round where Tony Nese predictably collapses under the pressure. Tony believes things will be different in Kudos. Everything that Tony believes will be different this year is that he faces Drew Gulak. Drew says he owns Tony Nese. He'll remind Tony that when you step to him, you will tap out. Then we get word from Tony Nese, who says it will not take his speed or strength to beat Drew Gulak. Drew is different than everyone else. He cannot make mistakes because Drew will dissect him. If you think you know him and own him, you do not know anything about Tony and what he will do to get to WrestleMania. Tony says he will not give up. Oney Lorcan says none of this is personal. He has no ill will to Humberto Carrillo, but Drake Maverick knew what he was getting when he brought him here. The man to beat is Cedric Alexander, and he knows that Cedric can't be beaten. He is here to snuff out the soul of 205 Live. Then we get a promo from Cedric saying that Oney is a bad man, and this division could belong to him someday. Cedric says he's still here, and the road to the Cruiserweight Championship runs through him. You better make sure that every shot counts because he's going back to WrestleMania to take his title back. And then we see comments from Buddy Murphy, the champ himself. He says that he's in Melbourne. He wants to take a minute to congratulate the semifinalists because there are 2 matches from facing the greatest champion. Who does he think will win? Will it be Drew Gulak, one of the best technicians? Will it be Oney Lorcan, who is not accustomed to the division? Tony Nese is the blueprint for a cruiserweight. He would not be surprised if Cedric is across the ring with him. He will prove that you cannot stop the unstoppable. That brings us to our first matchup. It is Oney Lorcan from NXT taking on Cedric Alexander in the semifinal matches. This was just... They went back and forth, just working over each other, uppercuts, the typical from Oney, the abdominal stretches, the clotheslines. Cedric comes back with an enziguri, the slingshot flatliner, a superplex, but Lorcan pushes him off the turnbuckles, misses the shoulder, goes for a running blockbuster, gets the near fall that Oney Lorcan does. He goes for the half and half suplex, but Cedric hits the elbows. He goes for the lumbar check, but he can't get him up. Lorcan hits a chop, forearm, then he hits his half and half suplex, but Cedric kicks out. More European uppercuts. Cedric Alexander hits a spear and a Michinoku driver for a near fall. Then, he goes to the apron, hits a springboard forearm. Then the European uppercut that puts Cedric on the turnbuckles. Goes for another half and half superplex, hits it, near fall. These two are just trading, going back and forth. It's a very high intense matchup. The finishing sequence comes where Lorcan looks around and picks up Alexander. He slaps Lorcan. And Lorcan slaps Alexander, and Alexander's down. Alexander then hits the lumbar check for the 1-2-3. Cedric is moving on to the finals, and what a hell of a match it was. We take a look back at Mike Kanellis' attack last week, and for those that don't know, the enhancement talent that Mike Kanellis beat up last week was none other than Colby Corino, the son of former Ring of Honor, ECW professional wrestler, commentator, now coach in NXT, one Steve Corino, old school Steve Corino. Colby Corino is a very talented individual. He wrestled a lot in Ring of Honor, and he got an enhancement. He got to try it with WWE, and Mike Kanellis attacked him last week. Mike and Maria are in Drake Maverick's office. He says he's been doing this for 16 years, and he says that Drake is not listening to him. Mike says he has paid his dues and has earned the respect of every person he steps in the ring with. He does not want your pity. He will not go into the ring with a rookie. He will not beat his opponent, then act happy for the opportunity to be here. Mike says he deserves better. Drake tells Mike that he will face one of the top cruiserweights in the world, one befitting of your stature. Drake says there is no place for losers on 205 Live. Looking good in defeat will not cut it. He tells Mike to take advantage of his opportunity, because there might not be another one. Then Ari Daivari says his biggest asset is his biggest detriment. He makes ordinary people look like superstars. The leash is coming off, and you will see what 1 year of frustration really looks like. So I'm curious to see the direction they go with Ari Daivari, and I'm curious to see who's going to face Mike Kanellis next week. I know they did sign, we talked about on Max, ACH. They signed Trevor Lee, who was in Impact Wrestling and was trained by the Hardy Boys. It's going to be very interesting to see who we see being brought into 205 Live with the likes of, Hideo Itami gone, and TJ Perkins, whose first indie is Pro Wrestling Revolver, Sami Callihan's promotion, where he takes on Rich Swann and Ace Austin, who are both in Impact Wrestling, so we could possibly see TJP going back to Impact Wrestling in the X Division, so we shall see. But I mean, like I say, guys, it was a two-match show, and rightfully so, and they build more to Angle's progressing and overall pursuing what we have with Ari Daivari and Mike Kanellis, respectively. So that brings us to our main event. It is Tony Nese versus Drew Gulak. This was excellent. This is, again, Drew Gulak working over Tony Nese, the holes, working on his arms, joint manipulation, systematic dissection at its finest. Tony Nese coming back with super kicks, the nip-up, elbows, split-legged moonsault for a near fall, power bomb by Drew Gulak, friggin' the Nese to Nese, the palm strike, the Frankensteiner by Tony Nese. It misses the 450. Nese avoids the Gulak, and Gulak hits a roll-up. He avoids the Gulak again, does Tony Nese. It looks, more... Excuse me. Hits a forearm to the chest, comes off the apron. They're going back and forth. Nese slaps Drew and hits a German suplex into the turnbuckles, pulls down the knee pad, but Gulak escapes, hits a clothesline, inside out for a near fall. Gulak goes for the Gulak, and he rolls Nese into the ring and locks in the hold. Nese propels himself off the ropes to get the 3 count on a roll-up. So Tony Nese reverses the Gulak, and Tony Nese is going into the finals against Cedric Alexander next week on 205 Live. Who's going to face Buddy Murphy? Will it be his good friend Tony Nese, or will we see Cedric again? Personally, if I'm being honest with you, we're going to be in New York. We're going to be, in New York for WrestleMania weekend, and give it to the Long Islander, fellow Long Islander, Tony Nese and Buddy Murphy. That's something that we haven't seen, and that's going to be very different. So I hope Tony Nese gets the win. So that was your 205 Live this week. Now we're going to get to some more good stuff, because we are about to talk about none other than the brand that is NXT. Alrighty, let's get into NXT. We go right into it. It's a Dusty Rhodes Classic. It's the semifinals. We start off with Mustache Mountain against the Forgotten Sons. But before that, we do see a promo video hyping Who's going to win the Dusty Road Tag Team Classic? Will it be Aleister Black and Ricochet, the Mustache Mountain, the Forgotten Sons, DIY? The War Raiders say they will be watching. It does not matter who emerges because none of you are ready for war. And we got Mustache Mountain, the Forgotten Sons. This was just back and forth, uppercuts, suplexes, great combos between the two. Tyler Bate giving a airplane spin, a double airplane spin onto Blake and Cutler. This was it was a lot of fun. It really was. The finishing sequence came where Trent Seven gets Blake on his shoulders, but the referee is bumped and Bate is pushed off the turnbuckles, and Riker hits Bate, Jackson Riker, who was the former gunner in TNA, who was along with Steve Cutler and Wesley Blake. Cutler takes care of Steven, and then they hit the Steven. Where the hell did Steven come from? Seven, excuse me. Cutler takes care of Seven, and they hit the double stomp reverse DDT combo for the 3 count, and Steve Cutler and Wesley Blake, the Forgotten Sons, have advanced to the finals. Matt Riddle is in the back, and he's asked about why he confronted the Velveteen Dream. Matt says he wanted to see the title and says, "Hi." Adam Cole, baby, interrupts and says that Riddle is clueless to think that he deserves a North American title match. Cole says that he will be the next champion, and that is undisputed. Matt says that Cole talks a tough game, but why not meet him in the ring? Then we see Shayna Baszler coming to the commentary for the next matchup, which is Io Shirai versus Bianca Belair in a number 1 contenders match. These two, again, just, drop kicks, just Belair pretty much doing a alley-oop to Io Shirai on the ring steps, whipping her with her hair, slamming her. We see double knee strikes. We see the 619 feint kick by Io Shirai. Like I mentioned, we see a Frankensteiner from Io Shirai. We see the top rope moonsault, the Acai moonsault. Belair gets the knees up. Belair hits a spear. And this is where all hell breaks loose as Shayna comes from the announce table and she makes her way to the ring. And she pulls Io to the floor. The referee calls for the bell. Shayna with the Kirifuda clutch. So it's a no contest. After the match, Kairi Sane makes her way to the ring, and Shayna applies the Kirifuda clutch on Sane. Io hits Shane to force her to release the hold on Sane. Then Shirai sends Baszler to the floor. Io checks on Sane, and Shayna returns to the ring and puts Shirai in the Kirifuda clutch. And then that was the end of that segment. So then we get a look back at Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic, Donovan Dijak, from 2 weeks ago. We see the confrontation that took place last week at the Performance Center. Next week, we will finally get that rematch between Keith Lee and Dominik Dijakovic. We see Aleister Black and Ricochet getting ready for their matchup, and it is main event time. But before we get there, we come back, and Shayna Baszler is asked why she did what she did. Shayna says that everyone thinks they should face her for the title, but none of them deserve it. Shayna is told that she will face Io Shirai, Kairi Sane, and Bianca Belair at NXT TakeOver New York in a fatal 4-way match for the NXT Women's Championship, which I personally cannot wait for. That brings us to our main event. It is Aleister Black and Ricochet versus DIY. DIY coming out to their old music. This, again, just absolute slingshot DDTs. I'm talking about the dives, tope suicidas. I'm talking about 630s. I'm talking about everything that you would want. Go back and watch this match from top to bottom. It was absolutely amazing. Johnny talking about hurting his knee. He's holding his knees, having trouble getting up. Ciampa is concerned. Ciampa's doing it alone. He's coming back, hitting, coming guns blazing. Ricochet hits him with a kick and a Pele. Gargano tries to get back on the apron, and Black tags himself in. Black misses a round kick, and Ciampa goes for the fairy tale ending, but Black with the black mask. Ricochet with the 630 pins Tommaso Ciampa. So the finals in the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, which will take place in 2 weeks on NXT, is Ricochet and Aleister Black against the Forgotten Sons, and the winners will be the winners of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic, and we'll get the shot at the War Raiders at NXT TakeOver New York. So this is where the big angle comes in. After the match, Aleister Black and Ricochet celebrate their victory in the ring. The finals will take place in 2 weeks. Candice LeRae makes her way out to check on her husband, Johnny Gargano. She goes over to check on him. Ciampa and Candice help Johnny up the ramp. Johnny collapses in front of the trophy. Ciampa helps Johnny up again, and Ciampa tries to send Gargano into the Tron, but Gargano reverses things and sends Ciampa into the Tron. Gargano with a running knee. Candice isn't impressed with what her husband just did. So he knew that Ciampa would do exactly what he did the first go around. So Ciampa had gotten what was coming to him. Gargano knew it was a setup. So now Gargano is back to being Johnny Wrestling's back, baby. And it was a great angle to close the show. It was a lot of fun. And I'm interested to see where they go now, knowing that Tommaso Ciampa has to have a neck fusion surgery, and he looks to be out until 2020. So a lot of stuff happening. And that is my review for NXT and 205 Live this week. I'd like to thank you all very much for listening. I'll be back to talk about, hopefully next week, if not, hopefully then the week after, I'll be talking about Keith Lee and Dominic Dijakovic. I'll be talking about Mike Kanellis against whoever he may be, and we're going to talk about Cedric and Tony Nese. We're going to talk a whole lot of NXT and 205 Live. So again, I thank you all very much for listening. Check out RWT Podcast on Twitter, YouTube RWT, Facebook group RWT. Check out StephenMikeShow.com. Check out SoundCloud MC Larkin92 and myself on Twitter at SMShow1 and MCL92. Check out Max Wrestling UK on Twitter, Max Wrestling on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, the whole nine, SoundCloud. Just check out Max Wrestling RWT. Check out the Stephen Mike Show Network. Check out LFC Lingerie Fighting Championship. It's at Lingerie FC on the Twitter machine. Just check out just our wonderful people that we work with and people that we are blessed to work with in both Max Wrestling RWT respectively and the whole nine. So I'd like to thank you all very much for listening. My name is Mike Larkin, and as always, the future is now. I'll talk to you guys next time.